Oh man, we are flooded down here. Holy cow, look at the peppers. What? Well, I won't lie, I'm both a little excited and a little nervous to see my garden for the first time in 10 days. So we just got back from vacation. I've heard through the grapevine we had about 6 inches of rain this week, so it should be interesting. Let's go see what it looks like. Well, it definitely looks moist out there. Oh my goodness, the crabgrass and the nutgrass are going insane. Oh my goodness, it's so saturated. And let's take a look at the potatoes and let me tell you what I did wrong. So I had some of the most beautiful potato plants you have ever seen in your life this past summer. We started off with seed potatoes. We put them in each one of these big bins right here and raised beds. Had the compost, mixed a little bit of sand with that, and they were doing phenomenal. So I shot the nitrogen to them, and then they did even better. So I shot more nitrogen to them. That was the wrong thing to do, because we had the tops of the potato plants were like 4 foot tall. And I said, okay, there's no way in the world we're not gonna have potatoes down in the soil. But no potatoes. And where I messed up was I shot too much nitrogen to the potatoes. So nitrogen is responsible for all of your vegetative growth. That's the green, that's the stems, that's all the stuff that we saw above the soil. So when I thought I was doing the right thing, making the tops all beautiful and lush and green, I was actually starving the potatoes, which is the food storage, the starch of the plant and what we were really after. So hindsight is always 20/20. Next year I will shoot a little bit of nitrogen to them at the very beginning, but then we're going to switch over to a more potassium rich fertilizer to feed those actual fruits that are underground. Because I'm super disappointed, because I told everybody we're going to have potatoes for days. And well, we don't at all. We have crabgrass and nutgrass. Now there were a few little potatoes down in the soil, which after I dug it up, but they weren't even worth harvesting, to be honest, unfortunately. I couldn't believe it, but that goes to show you the importance of those 3 numbers on the front of that bag. You know, you got like a 10-10-10 or a 20-20-20. That's NPK, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. So lessons were learned. We just got to try again next year. And switching the camera around, oh man, we are flooded down here. So we left the corn stalks from the Gotta Have It corn, the $100 a pound corn. It was delicious, but we left it standing, as we said in videos in the past, and we planted some pole beans on it, which the pole beans are doing great, but not phenomenal due to, look how much water we got standing in the rows, y'all. Oh man. However, the beans are looking really good, and Jovi, while I was going on vacation, picked me a ton of white acre peas, and I just got done shelling them. Dad fortunately had a pea sheller in his basement that has been down there for many years. I took that thing, stripped it down to bare bones last night, had to free up some frozen bearings, redo a bunch of stuff, but it makes it so much easier to just feed these peas through. It was just eating them, spitting out the husk. My peas were falling down into a pan. I will never go back to hand shelling white acre peas, or any peas for that matter, ever again. That machine is staying with me. Let's cruise on down and check out how everything else is doing. Let's see, I think these are the green beans. They're about shot. Not doing too good. You see how the leaves are turning white. We did harvest a bunch of them, and I put a bunch of them in mason jars and have them in the pantry. Got some peanuts down through there. We're going to dig up some peanuts on the other end because they're older and check on the status of them. These peppers aren't doing too good because it's in the middle of the garden right here. It is just saturated with water. So we'll see how the others are doing on the far end, which is the drier end. Here's some more white acres. They're looking really good. Look at the bushes down through there. Here's some peanuts, some younger peanuts. And then, oh no, it looks like our pole beans have gotten so tall, they're knocking over the corn. So our idea was obviously to let the pole beans climb up the corn stalks, which they have done, but they are getting so heavy, they've broken the corn stalks off, which is kind of a good sign because the pole beans are doing fantastic. But look how long they are getting. We got some nice flowers right here. So we should have a really good crop of pole beans coming here super soon. We went ahead and planted some more corn to try to get a fall harvest of this Gotta Have It corn because it was so daggum delicious. I just want more of it. It's struggling a little bit just in this July heat. It has been triple digits for the past few weeks, so it's not the happiest, but it's growing. We'll see if it makes it before frost. Super excited to see all of the flowers on the pole beans. So if the corn stalks can support it a little bit longer, we should have a good harvest. Let's go down this way and check. The tomatoes I know are done just due to the heat. They are they're tired, man. This is that world's smallest tomato right here called spoons. Look at all those little bitty things. They are so delicious though. I love this plant. It takes a little while to pick enough for a salad, but it's well worth it. There's like thousands in there. Holy cow, look at the peppers. What? Man, oh man. Oh man, we've lost the tag to that one, but the peppers, now here is where they shine right here. In the month of July and August, the driest, hottest months of the year, these are the only guys that will do good in the garden other than the okra. And here is the proof right here. Look at this jalapeno, man. It's got babies everywhere. The bees have done good. They gave us a lot of honey. Hopefully they filled up some of their supers so they'll have plenty of food for the winter time. We've got gourds growing up absolutely everywhere around the perimeter of the garden. This looks like some butternut squash. And then on the other side, I cannot wait to show you what those gourds look like. They are super cool. All right, let's see what some of our peanuts look like. Let's find us a nice, healthy plant, maybe down this way. So this is the eastern side of the garden. It is the driest. Everything kind of slopes down towards that way where we first came in through the gate, so all the water goes down that way. Let's pull up this guy right here and see what it looks like. Okay, we got a couple of peanuts on there. Not anywhere near done, I don't believe. This is a Valencia variety. Let's see what the actual fruit looks like. Not as many peanuts on the bottom as I'd like to see, but this is what I love to boil right here. That's good. They are super sweet. Just not quite there yet. Now, I haven't grown peanuts ever, actually, and you can see that this right here is turning into a peanut. That's turning into a peanut. All of these roots coming down will eventually turn into a peanut. So all these flowers up here get pollinated, travel down that tube, and go to each individual peanut and produce fruit. The top looks pretty healthy. Looks like we got a little bit of chlorosis going on, but I don't want to make the same mistake we made with the potatoes and push more nitrogen to them, because right now they probably need more potassium in order to produce the fruit, very similar to the potatoes. But not bad for our first go. But these are the little guys that I love to boil right here. But look how those little baby peanuts right there. This thing needs some more time. Let's put it back in the ground and give it about another month or so. All right, I know you're gonna be mad at me for digging you up, but I need you to get back in here. Make me some more peanuts, please. We'll see if this one lives. I don't know, he's probably not gonna be too happy since I just ripped him out of the earth, but we'll see what happens. And we had to check them just to see where we're at in the growth process. There you go, buddy. You're good. Oh, and this darn pigweed drives me insane. We have been plagued with this in our garden forever. It has little spines on it. It'll poke you when you try to pick it out. But the peanuts are kind of a wider growing vegetable than I realized. They're kind of really reaching out, probably 3 foot across right here. I don't know what the little yellow means on the leaves right here. I'll have to look that up and get back to you. Or if you know, drop it in the comments. Because again, this is my first go around with peanuts. But the peppers, oh my goodness. Look at this cayenne. There must be 100 on that one plant right there. They're starting to turn purple and red. That's gonna make some great pepper vinegar. And then look at this down here. Man, I don't know if this was some kind of pumpkin. We didn't plant any pumpkins. We just planted gourds. So I guess this is one of the ornamental gourds that is not gonna make it until fall time. I was trying to grow Sarah some cool stuff to put around her door of her home for fall decorations, but I doubt that's gonna make it another 3 months before it rots. Look how beautiful they are though. Man, we got some nice big ones right here. I was paying like $5 and $6 a piece for these things at the farmer's market. Used to sell down at my garden center. Those are gorgeous. Let's see what the color is on the bottom. Oh, so pretty. Whoa, look at this one. That's so neat. We have planted so much stuff around this garden. We got watermelon down here. For what reason, I don't know. We just planted stuff everywhere. But the one thing that has plagued me this year is this daggum nut grass. It has just been insanity all around the entire garden. And unfortunately, the sedge hammer, which because it's nut sedge, you can't, or you're not supposed to spray that in with your vegetables. I don't like to use any weed killer on stuff that I'm feeding to myself nor my family. So I didn't spray anything. We just really tried to hand weed it and till it the best we could, but it's so hard to stay on top of this stuff. Some more little watermelons down here, some birdhouse gourds. We'll let those dry. Make us some purple martin houses, which you see right there. Let's see here. Thank goodness somebody cut the okra off of the okra plants, because these things are so prolific. This is the only other vegetable in the garden that really loves these hot, dry conditions. Well, not dry, because it's soaking wet, but you know what I mean. Oh yeah, that's a nice bunch of okra right there. This is Clemson spineless. One of the go-tos for South Carolina is the Clemson spineless. I think that's pretty much all we've ever planted, except when we experimented with that jambalaya, which was a shorter variety, very prolific, shorter plant, much thicker stalk, and it did great too. Man, look at the size of this birdhouse gourd. Holy cow, that's a monster. I went ahead and tilled up the squash before I left on vacation a while back. We'll plant something else here, probably for a fall garden. And then this is what I wanted to show you. Look at the size of these scooper gourds. Holy cow. That's a lot of weight right there. That must be 10 pounds hanging off of that thing. Look at this one. That's 1, 2, 3.5 feet long. Holy cow, that's so cool. I might have called them scooper. They're dipper. So once they dry, you cut that off, and then you have a long dipper handle that you can use for stews or what have you. I bought these at the farmer's market 2 years ago, and then I shook it and I was like, hey, there's seeds in here. So me and Jovi busted it open and germinated them, and here are the results right here. What a cool looking fruit. This one, he grew so long, he's actually reached the ground and got kind of a bent handle right there. That'll be a neat one to make. Oh my goodness, look at these guys. So freaking cool, man. Love it. Then we got sweet potatoes right here in this mound and that mound that are absolutely covered in the stupid nut sedge. But we should be digging some sweet potatoes very soon. Our asparagus is doing phenomenal. Now, if you watched any of the grassroots gardening videos, you know we planted this for the first time ever that I've grown asparagus back in the very, very early spring, late winter. We can't harvest any this year, but there's all of your asparagus plants right there. Kind of looks like a fennel or dill type plant right there. So this whole area right here is going to be our asparagus garden for the next at least 10 years. We've got some more sweet potatoes in this mound over here. So hopefully we're going to at least have some kind of potatoes on the plate from the garden. And then we have our southern home muscadine vine right here. And I'm telling you what, this thing is loaded down again this year. This was a phenomenal producer last year. So this is a hybrid between a muscadine and an actual wine grape, so they kind of grow in clusters like you see right here. But it is loaded down up in here. Awesome, I love it. But yeah, it's so daggum hot. The garden's just kind of it's kind of exhausted. And I kind of am too, I ain't gonna lie. I'm kind of looking forward to a fall garden with collards and more broccoli and some cooler weather stuff. But I do appreciate you guys watching the garden update. The more you know, the more you grow. I'll see you on the next video.